Hey, it's the Range Ronin, and what I am presenting today was somewhat inevitable to happen. The hoopla has died down regarding the Ruger RXM, as most reviewers, including myself, have had their say about it. Stick with me, however, as I have one final say regarding the Ruger RXM, with a comparison to what brought it into existence, the Glock G19. There are so many reviews of the Ruger RXM that I don't bother even to count them anymore, and is the same as with the Glock G19, to which the Ruger RXM is compared. As I produce this review, it is status quo at the Magpul site. No change in the availability of subcompact and full-size grip modules for the RXM. Nope.
None, nada, nin, niet, and absolutamente nessuna.
An Italian expression for absolutely none. So, what is causing the stall at Magpul? Perhaps the RXM did not take off as well as expected. The rants, raves, and hoopla have diminished to a mere whisper, if that. Still, why not provide the promise of providing grip modules? Regardless, the Ruger RXM is still with us, and for the time being, the Glock G19 GEN5. So I thought, since the celebration has diminished regarding the Ruger RXM, why not pop out a range comparison between the Ruger RXM and the Glock G19 GEN5? Not that it has not already been done, but it has been not done from my perspective, which is not probably important to others, but matters to me, because I like to see things for myself. So, today I am taking you to the range for my range comparison between the Ruger RXM and the Glock G19 GEN5. I'll take you through the specifications for both, show you the range day with each, and produce my final thoughts on which I believe comes out top dog in my hands. This would be the first outing for the Ruger RXM, at least in my hands. The two 15-round magazines that came with the pistol have been stoked to the top and left to set up overnight. Fiocchi 115 grain FMJ and Magtech 115 gray FMJ would provide the source of enjoyment for this first outing. The 15-round magazines allow me to run 5 sets of 3 rounds each for my favorite failure drill, or the Mozambique drill, as some call it. I may just mix things up a bit, just to keep you and I from getting bored. Now, I need for you to note that this RXM does not have an optic, nor a light, laser, or combination thereof, because I need to see what a box stock RXM is capable of when using the standard sights, standard trigger, and provided magazines. In short, the RXM is running as it would straight out of the box, although it has been properly lubricated. I'll provide comments as I roll through the session and a brief range synopsis at the end of the session. Ruger RXM ran without fail, more than I can say for the person operating it. That would be me. For my first time with the Ruger RXM, I was impressed, but not surprised, as I have known Ruger to do right by the majority of his firearms. I needed this range session to be as short as possible, given the length of this review, and I may have rushed things a bit too fast. I was using a flash sight picture as I would in an actual confrontation, and I probably should have measured my shots better for better accuracy, but I did satisfy myself as to the relative combat accuracy of the RXM, and I liked what I saw. The Tragicon front sight really stands out for me to see, even with my old eyes. I would prefer some sort of guide on the rear sight though, but for a sighting system worthy of having, the sights on the Ruger RXM are more than adequate. The two provided Magpul magazines work flawlessly, are easy to load, easy to insert into the RXM, and are easy to vacate the pistol when directed. The grip size, angle, and texture felt very good in my hand, and there is more than enough real estate to get a good grip on it. The trigger action is a bit soft until the time the striker releases, but it is not unlike many other triggers that I have pulled. To me, it was predictable and consistent, which is a good trait to have in a trigger. This was my first time with the RXM, and I did pull some shots, with the majority, however, falling into place pretty close to my point of aim, but slightly left, but that could have been me. The RXM likes a covered sight picture over a 6 o'clock hold. I needed to raise the sight with headshots though, as they were hitting effectively, but again, left to my POI. Regardless, all would have been effective. All in all, I am pleased with the first outing with the RXM. It has the potential to be a viable pistol for personal or home defense, in my opinion. Longevity, I can't speak to, but reliability, I can. And from what I can determine, the RXM is highly reliable. Okay, on to my final thoughts. Both the Glock G19 Gen5 and Ruger RXM performed flawlessly at the range. I am far more familiar with the Glock G19 than I am with the RXM, and did shoot it a bit better than the RXM. More range time with the RXM might change that, or not. What I think that it may come down to, for the gunsumer like you and I, is relative cost and if a modular platform like the RXM with its fire control insert would appeal to you. With regard to cost, the Ruger RXM is the more appealing of the two, coming in at a much lesser cost than the Glock G19 Gen5. Essentially, and with the Ruger RXM, you are getting a revised version of the Glock G19 Gen3. The RXM, however, does have a modular fire control system and a choice of grip sizes, if Magpul would do their part. I did change out the RXM grip module with a black Magpul compact unit. That was for more aesthetic reasons and thinking it was going to improve performance. The sighting system on both pistols will get you through a range session or a self-defense situation. Both sighting systems are very good, with standard Glock sights versus a white Tragicon Night front sight and blacked out rear sight of the RXM. The grip angle of both pistols is very different, with the Glock providing that standard angle most have either come to love or hate, while the RXM grip angle is more of a conventional angle, of which many favor. So, the bottom line is, which pistol, the Glock G19 Gen5 or the Ruger RXM, would I consider top dog? For me, and to really lay it out, it's a draw. As far as performance and reliability, both are equal. Sorry if that disappoints you Glock lovers. The configuration flexibility of the RXM may win some over, as would the price, but I consider the Ruger RXM as unfinished business with a lack of grip module options at this time. The Glock 19 is a tried and true platform, and for some that is an important factor, but I am not going to take anything away from the Ruger RXM, as it seems to be a fine pistol in its own right. Both would serve you well. Well, my friends, I probably have not influenced you in any form or fashion with this Glock G19 Gen5 versus Ruger RXM range comparison. I just gave you something to think about for your next self or home defense firearm. Check out my individual reviews of these pistols for more in-depth detail. Links have been placed in the description section below this video. Now it's time for me, and probably you, to move on to other matters. But no matter, please return to my channel for my other gun and gear reviews. Until we meet again, stay vigilant, stay armed, and stay safe wherever your travels take you.